Hi, it's Gadget UK here again, back with the AES. It's been a long time since I've used this system, but I love this. This is a cherished part of my collection. The repair, yeah, I might revisit this actually, because when I soldered the wires and things underneath, perhaps not as tidy and as clean as they could be. But yeah, this was a repair. There'll be a link top right. As I say, it's a crusty video. It could be a lot better as my process has evolved on some of these sorts of repairs. Someone wrenched off the ROM to try and put a unibias on it, and then sold it as faulty, and yeah, all the traces around the ROM were wrenched off. So that's what it was. It was putting a socket on there, fixing that, but also it's the old rev. You know, this is one of the early Neo Geo AES systems. So if you're not familiar, you know, I've covered the Neo Geo so many times on my channel, but yeah, SNK produced the Neo Geo MVS arcade cabinets. You know, so you'd go to the arcade and you play various games in the arcade, and yeah, you come across an MVS, a Neo Geo MVS cabinet, and they used a cartridge. I'll show you one of the MVS cartridges here, and the huge things. Yeah, so that was for the arcade. But they also followed up with the AES. Now, I think initially these were rented out. Yeah, they didn't have no plans to sell these to the home consumer markets there. They had the arcade, and then they rented these out to hotels and things. And I think shortly after that, because of the success of it, they went, let's just sell these to consumers. So yeah, the home version was the AES. The cartridges are almost the same. As you can see, huge things, but they've got this, you know, a lump up here, a little bit different, and they're just marginally smaller. But it contains the same code, essentially. They just took the code from the arcade. In fact, right from the very beginning, their design was to have two different versions of code on the same chips. There are a few exceptions, but yeah, the ROM chips that feature on these, the program ROM, you can switch it between the AES home mode or MVS arcade mode. So there's very little difference other than, you know, you've got to stick credits in. With the AES version, you'll get a predefined amount generally, like 3 or 4 or 5 credits. But anyway, yeah, so this, I've covered this on my channel before as well. It's a nice chance, a bit of homebrew. So I haven't used this in several years, I don't think, 5 or 6 years at least. So let's just switch it on, make sure it's working. Yeah, the graphics there look okay. That NeoBits thing was striped initially, but after a second insertion it's alright. So that just goes to show there was a bit of a bad connection. Now, I had problems with this cart right from the very beginning in terms of connectivity. Yeah, so that's on the Nights Chance video. You'll see I had to tear that down and shave a little bit off the plastic edge. But that could be because I've got an old AES here, and the slot may have had more use than some of the newer AES. But anyway, that's working alright. And incidentally, the power supply was a repair as well, recapped to 2018. Got 2 of these, I've got a spare as well. Both of them were separate repairs on my channel. Anyway, let's switch that off. There will be a review of the AES version of Xenocrisis coming up as well. So it's got little marks on the case here, I don't know if you can see this. Some of that's from the bubble wrap. I'm not sure I should have wrapped it in bubble wrap, but yeah, anyway, so this won't be the last time you see the AES. In fact, there'll be another video on the AES coming up as well. And I've got this control pad here, which is a Neo CD Mini. And this is one of the ones that was modified with a connector here for a Neo Geo, so we can connect this to an AES or an MVS and get the nice clicky with one of these new mini Neo Geo pads, effectively. In fact, let's just plug that in. You can see I've got the audio coming out to the RGB cable here. So anyway, back to the focus of this video. So this has arrived today in the post. On my birthday, funnily enough. So yeah, you can see it's an AES 161 in 1. So yeah, first impressions are packaging's not too bad actually, because it was in a bigger box with some polystyrene and stuff around it as well. The cart shell looks really nice, really nicely made. It's even got SNK printed there. Look, PCBs look pretty good quality to me, gold plated there. Of course, we will, I think, try and tear this down to have a look at the innards of this, see if anything needs, I don't know, reflowing or anything, but the label's nice as well. So, without further ado, let's straighten here. Hopefully this will work. Now, one thing you do have to think about with the AES, the different versions with the power supply, this is the one that where you feed 5 volts straight in. Is there going to be enough oomph in the power supply there to power the CPLDs and the RAM chips and things on a cart like this? I'm not sure. I think because this is a pretty new car, it's probably going to be one of the ones, a bit like the 16111 for the MVS was, you know, how that evolved into a V2 or greater, that they ended up using BGA chips or stuff, that, you know, they probably use even less current and less power and stuff like that, but and less of them. If you look at a 16111, one of the older ones, certainly the one on my channel, it's got loads of, you know, ROM chips on there. So this is probably only going to have a lot less, I would think. Anyway, let's switch it on and see what happens. Let's hope it doesn't kill my AES. Let me just reconnect that audio. Yeah, I think I need to get some deoxit into that audio connector, but straight away we've got the normal 161-in-1 screen there. The latest 161-in-1s, don't they have V2 or something? It comes up saying V2 here or something. So this is obviously based on the earlier 161-in-1 by the looks of things. Now, I know from my experience of playing every single game on the 161-in-1 which games have some sort of minor issue. There's not that many. Lots of people would lead you to believe there's lots of games that have got problems. I think they just got a bad cart, or a cart that just needs a bit of work with a soldering iron. So, yeah, like I say, I'm forearmed with the knowledge of where the issues are, but certainly, like, all the metal slugs here should work normally.
Metal slug! Metal slug! Mission 1, start!
Well, that seems perfect to me so far.
Heavy machine gun!
Sweet. Yeah, despite how bad I played that, no issues. Sounds, looks perfect there. So of course I would need to play this obviously a lot more to be 100% sure. Let's just hit start, hold start down. That's interesting, the whole start thing doesn't work on the AES version. So it's interesting how that works different to the MVS version. Anyway, let's try soft reboot, let's just see what happens there. I'm guessing it's just going to launch the same game again. So maybe you need to power cycle these to get back to the menu. Yeah, I think you do, look. So let's do that. Anyway, I'm just pleased that so far at least that works. So I will try something else now. Yeah, I mean there are some games, like I said, they've got known problems. So like King of Fighters, where have they gone? It's one of the earlier ones. I think it's the first one. It's like King of Fighters 94, for example, has got some issue with the intro music. Garrow Mark of the Wolves is a proto, and it's got a problem with one of the moves or something on there, I think. What else have you got? Samurai Shodown has got an issue, the first one. There's a problem with one of the graphics of one of the characters, I think, on that. Most of the other games, though, on this are okay. Most of them are complete. It just depends on whether you look out, whether you've got a good one or a bad one. Let's just try Ganryu. But I mean, the quality of the cart and stuff, it looks pretty good from the outside. I think this has come directly from the company that makes these. Is it Time something? I forget who they are. I'll stick it top left. The one thing I would say, you know, and I've said it so many times on the, you know, the multi-carts for the Neo Geo, if they stuck some level translators in there, you know, to deal with the 3.3 volt to 5 volt stuff, or even just some resistors on every single connection that's going out, where you've got, you know, 3.3 volt interacting with 5 volt, that would make it more desirable. It might increase the cost and stuff, but you know what, just increase it by 10 or 20 quid. You're making profit on that 10 or 20 quid. It wouldn't cost that for the actual parts, and then it's going to be a much better product. You're not going to risk damaging your system. I don't remember this on the MVS version. Do you pick a character? I think this is different on AES, isn't it? I don't know, I could be losing my mind there, but I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember seeing that. And obviously you get difficulty when you're playing an AES like this. You can pick your difficulty. Yeah, sorry it's pretty overbright here, it's really sunny today. In fact, that's so bright I can't see it. Anyway, that seems to be working. I'm just going to hold down start again, just to see if holding start does anything. No, it doesn't. So yeah, they definitely changed that on the AES version. Let's try Last Blade 2. That's quite a high mega count cart, that. They're also not as crazy in price as they used to be. You know, because it's the AES, you know, this is the thing, anything on AliExpress, what you tend to find with AES games is they go, oh, it's the AES, it's so expensive, we'll get £200 for one of these. And this is what they were. The 161-in-1 when it first came out, I'm pretty sure they're around the £200 mark. Whereas I think I grabbed this one for about £60 to £70, which is still a lot of money for what it is. But that's not dissimilar to what you originally paid for the 161-in-1s. You can get those now for 40, 50 quid. They're not very expensive, I don't think. It might even be cheaper than that, a 161-in-1 for an MVS. But yeah, I'm pleased that the prices have come down. I may buy one of the converters, I don't know. I mean, originally I wanted to buy one of Vertex converters, but I'm not sure he sells those anymore. Or anybody makes them, I'm not sure. Because that would be nice to be able to use some of my MVS carts on the AES, and I think Vertex adapter was the best one. But yeah, it's looking fine, isn't it? And as I say, you'd need to play all the way through a game to be 100% sure that there's no issues with the ROMs for that game. You know, you need to play all the different levels, the different characters and all that sort of stuff. But there are no sound glitches, the graphics look spotless, there's no crashes or exceptions. It just looks just like it does when I play this same game on the MVS. I guess what I should do next is test the games where I know there were PCM issues on the MVS version. And obviously, because we're using this rev of AES, it might not be subject to those PCM glitches anyway. So it might not be proving anything, but I just want to know whether this card is any good for my AES, really. So Pulsar was a good one. You'd nearly always get sound glitches on the intro of that if you just let the intro go round and round and round on the MVS and unmodified original version 1, 161-in-1, without the extra cap or two there. Certainly the one related to the PCM, the 47 picofarad or whatever it was. just using these spudges here. Let's just get a couple of these. Yeah, using plastic ones, perhaps less chance of damaging it, but these may break off. I may have to glue these back in a minute, I don't know. So you typically have a tab there. Now I'm talking about official carts, I have no reason to suspect this is going to be any different, but you have a little clip there, a clip there, and you can sort of see a little indent there, and you can see an indent here, and obviously it's the same on both sides here. So let's start with this side perhaps, and I think we'll just try. I don't know if this is going to be fine enough. I might need a different spudger to do this, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get that in there. I'll tell you what might be better is one of those guitar pick ones. See those, not the plastic one, the flexible one there, because it's nice and thin and it's soft. Yeah, so let's try that. Let's give that a go. I'm not sure if it goes up or down. This is the problem. I haven't been in an AES cart before, but a long time in the past. Oh, I broke it off, look. I didn't expect that. It's clearly because I've used this a number of times, this particular one. Well, at least it wasn't the case that broke, it was the blooming peg. Right, so the easy way to do this is make sure you're wearing an ESD wrist strap. Put a finger down here, thumb up here to pull like that, opposing each other, pulling away. Yeah, put something metal, use a metal spudger, and lever that way. Hang on. As you pull outwards, see that? Then do this side here. I think the same way. Let's just see if I can hold it like that. And oh God, this is the thing. I'm using a couple of different spudgers and wedging it in there may be the technique. Let's just try and wedge that way. Let's try that end. There we go. See that? Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw that, but I did the same thing there. And we'll do the one down here now. So it's approximately there, isn't it? And in theory, actually, we could now use this plastic thing, slide down like that. It's probably going to break at that point, isn't it? Yeah, I can't do it that way. Tell you what, let's try the EV blog ruler. You can see what's coming, can't you? It's going to be bye-bye EV blog ruler, perhaps. There we go. Can you see? So that's that side done. Carefully flip it around that way, and let's just reverse the process here. Be careful not to open it dead wide, because what you don't want to do is let the carts fall out, and you don't want to damage the label. So that way, there we go. This one's come out. Same way again, like that. You know. Because this metal thing here is pretty resilient, I can stick it in that way. There you go. It's pretty stiff, you know, this metal. It's like steel or something. And we use the ruler again. Let's get down to this point. There we go. So, a few hairs and things on that. Let's just carefully lift it like that. That's compart. And we've got label at the top here. I'm just filming this for my own benefit more than anything, so I can remember which way around these go. So, one out. So straight away, some weird stuff going on with these chips here. So you can see that board is the bottom. Let's just put, I might just write on this top. So got it on the edge of the mat there. Let's just carefully flip this up. We will disconnect that. You shouldn't really pull by the wires, because yeah, you'll break it. My nails need cutting again. Let's just try and get this off. Do you know, I wonder if that's glued in. It feels a bit blooming secure to me, that. I think that's glued in, you know. That is not coming out. I'll be honest, that has really cheesed me off. There we go, it's coming out now. Yeah, it was just stiff, was it? Oh no, there is some glue. Oh, maybe there isn't. I don't know. Anyway, you saw which way that goes, so I'll tell you what. Well, you can't get it wrong. You've got the plastic things here, the little guides there, so yeah, I was going to draw a little line on there. Anyway, so that was the top board with pasting the label, and then the bottom. So I'm going to put yeah, bottom. Can't get these wrong the round way. Put bottom there. Can't get them around the wrong way because obviously the interconnects are in the sandwich between the two. Got a piece of sponge there. Let's separate them. So same thing going on here. Look, a little PCB soldered on. Yeah, look at that. It's BGA or something, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Look at that. It's huge, huge chip. So yeah, the quality. It's not too bad. We've got a 3.3 volt regulator there. A couple of electrolytics. Little STC chip there, I'm not sure what that is, I'll look in a minute, and some Altera Max CPLDs here. So yeah, that's the same sort of ROM chips you get on, well, I think, I'll have a look, it might be a different model, but they're probably the same ones you get like on a normal 161-in-1. But then you see they've got these modules here like this. It's not BGA soldered, is it? Or is it? Yeah, it is. It's just soldered this way to make it easier, perhaps more reliable. I mean, the positive thing with that is you could resolder that. If that was making a bad connection, you do have easy access here to drag solder here. Add some flux, you can drag solder. So that's quite a clever design, actually. You know, it's a way of using BGA, but making it easier to solder and inspect the solder points. So, you know what, I quite like that. As cheap as this design is, you know, because there's no level translation here, there are no resistors on the address and the data lines or control signals, there's nothing there to deal with the mismatch between the 3.3 and 5 volts. So anyway, that's that one. Split this one over. So it's exactly the same thing going on here. I forget which way around these are now. This is the char board, isn't it? Just because I'm used to the MVS carts more than the AES in terms of the order you take them out. So yeah, this is the char board, so all your graphics are on here. You've got your M ROM there, it's an M1, so they've just gone with that TSOP type of chip there, another CPLD, and then you've got your S1, again they've used a TSOP chip there. Another regulator, we've got a cap on there, a couple of little caps. These things around here are bypassed as well. So, I do quite like that though. I bet these are hard to program. I bet you need like a $5,000 programmer or something to program those up. Yeah, very interesting. But that's not too bad, actually. Quality there isn't bad. It's not like we've got tons and tons of excess flux. I will inspect the solder points, but you know, this works perfectly. As I've sort of shown, but you will see from captures and things that yeah, all the games seem to work alright, just like my MVS 161-in-1. That's looking a bit dirty, so yeah, I'll probably just clean a few things with cotton buds here. And there's a little bit of dirt or something there. It could just be two pins joined together intentionally. So I'll tell you what the funny thing with this is. I'm just cleaning, and you see what I see? Black. Yeah, I was cleaning the top of this. So yeah, it sounds like they're using fake Altera Max CPLDs. It's like the Chinese factory's getting conned by the Chinese factory that's creating the fake. Look, the fake chips. I think that makes me laugh. That really does. It's like you can end up with an infinite loop. Yeah, that's why that looks a funny colour. Normally, on a genuine one of these, you won't get black stuff like that coming off it. And that's just with IPA. That's not acetone. That one may be the same, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that's why those look a bit streaky and a bit patchy there. I did just clean off that little thing down there. It was a bit of, there was a little dot down there, just wiped over it, and it came off. So yeah, I really should use a new clean cotton bud actually before I start wiping all that black paint everywhere. For all I know, it's conductive. You don't know, do you? I've been covered in black paint like that. But yeah, we'll just have a clean around it. It's not bad. It's not. It doesn't even need me to do this, to be honest. There's just the odd little bit of flux there that's been missed, but in general, they're not bad. It's certainly way better than the original 161-in-1s were on the MVS, that's for sure. So yeah, I'll have a wipe around this in a sec, because obviously I've got smears on it, fingerprints and stuff. But there's nothing I would do to that, well, other than revise it. You know, if you're listening, Chinese factory, if you want to make more money from these, revise it. Add some 7.4 HC245s, well, not HC245s, that's just standard 245. One of the, I don't know, an LV, whatever it is, that will translate from 3.3 volt to the 5 volt side. Stick them on the data bus, the address bus, the V bus, the M bus, the char bus, and maybe if you want to not put one on every single control signal that passes, just put a 100 ohm resistor in series. You could even do that instead. If you don't want to put the chips on there, just put 100 ohm resistors in series with all the connections here, and then just obviously test it, make sure it works that way. At least that would limit current, I guess. Yeah, I think I'll just reassemble it then. There's nothing really I would want to do to this. The only thing you could consider, you could swap these caps for something decent brands, because they're probably like no-name brands. It's not like they're going to be Panasonic and all the rest of it. But yeah, in general, I think that's pretty good. I just wonder what that diode there's for. Yeah, this could be one of these things where they're actually dropping something by 0.7 of a volt here. So, you know, something could be being over voltage as a result of whatever that's doing, because it's a bit strange to have that diode there, to be honest. I wonder what that's doing. I guess I could trace to see where it's going, but from prior experience, when you see diodes on these, that's usually just dropping the 5 volts by 0.7 of a volt for something on here. So these large flash chips interest me here as well. Like, you know, what have they come from? Because, you know, I'm guessing, yeah, they look kind of like reused, don't they? They don't look brand new. They've probably come off something. Yeah, the black stuff's not coming off that one. Yeah, that's not too bad. We'll have a go there. Like this doesn't really need doing. I think these have been through an ultrasonic or something, because they're very, very clean. It's one of the best assemblies of this sort of thing I've seen before. It's like really tidy. This little, you know, you could look at something like this and go, you know, if it had a Terra Onion logo or something on it, you'd go, you wouldn't be surprised, if you see what I'm trying to say. Maybe there, you could argue that's something that you wouldn't get on a Terra Onion product. But obviously, I'm comparing the two here like years apart, really. Terra Onion is doing a completely different thing, and all of the attention to detail and perfection is applied to a Terra Onion product. If this had level translation and it had a Terra Onion thing on it, you might think it was a genuine Terra Onion product. I really got to stop trying to compare to Terra Onion here, because yeah, it's like comparing apples and potatoes. We've got space for a cap there, look. So yeah, you could add an extra cap there. Actually, I'm going to do that. I'll tell you why, because what you've got here is a cap on the input, yeah, on the 5 volt rail, and then a cap on the 3.3 volt rail, yeah. They look identical in size, which is never good practice. You're always supposed to have a slightly smaller one on the output of a regulator versus the input. Otherwise, sometimes on some regulators, you know, if the power gets drained from, this is the output on the right, power gets drained from the output on the right, you want the one on the left to keep supplying it to the regulator until that goes down, so they both go down like that, yeah, so your output is flatlined before your input goes flatlined. What can happen is if you get exactly the same size, you may find that the input one goes like that, yeah, down level, and the 3.3 still, you know, is still able to be powered a little bit, and it's going the opposite way. It could damage the regulator. Yeah, I'm not explaining that very well, but yeah, it's good practice to have higher capacitance on the input of a linear regulator, a lower capacitance on the output of the linear regulator. But in any case, that board's got one on each thing there, one on 5 volts, one on 3.3. This one has got a fair few chips on here, yeah, but we've just got one on the 5 volt rail. Yeah, I'll check that in a minute, but that's what that one's for. That's for the 3.3. So I would see what that is. If it's a 47, I'll stick a 22 up here, or a 10. So I got the multimeter here. Let's just do a connectivity test. So yeah, if memory serves, I think it's ground on the tab, isn't it? Yeah, that's the output, sorry, that's 3.3. Strange having a huge 3.3 tab there. But you know what, I think that's so you can have one of the larger regulators here, but I'm not really sure where the legs would go. It's a bit strange. Yeah, so if I test from ground, which I think are the outside, you can't see, outside traces there, That's going to be the first pin, I think, is it? Yeah, so it goes ground, output, input, I think, if memory serves. So this is going to be the 5 volts, which goes to the centre on these, does it? Yeah, that's right. And then the 3.3 is that side. So this cap up here, that's 3.3 positive, and that side's got to be the ground. That's correct. So it wants to go, and it's marked there, positive. Yeah, so you can use that silk screen there to indicate that. I've just checked, it's a 47. So I'm just going to put a 22 here. Yeah, so I've got a Panasonic FR series. It doesn't need an FR series, it just happens to be what I've grabbed. It's 50 volts, it's more than enough, but it's low ESR. So yeah, we'll get that on. Why not? I think I'm going to try and lay it this way down. Let's just try and bend these legs actually before I stick it in, because I can get it flatter with the board then. That's all we need to do, is just make sure the legs aren't touching each other. Flip it over and we'll solder that on. I just think that's a cost cutting thing, you know. They'll have saved a few pennies or something by not fitting that, but there is advantage in smoothing the 3.3 volt side when you've got these, you know, the CPLDs on here. Is this the one with the MCU? Or no, it's the other one. Could argue the one it might be more essential, the other board, because it's got what looks like a little MCU or something on there. So yeah, but anyway, a little bit of extra smoothing on the 3.3 volt rail. Just deal with any current dips and things, and I don't know, it might just give you a little bit more stability, although I've not seen any evidence of stability problems with this. It's just what you would expect. I wouldn't expect to see a regulator without an electrolytic on its input and its output side. But we're certainly not doing anything groundbreaking here. We're not fixing any bugs, or there's nothing really wrong with this car. It's very, very nice. I like it. Yeah, and that's the other thing. If a Chinese factory is watching this, the other thing you want to do is the ROMs that you're using for this, there are some issues. I think King of Fighters 94 has got an issue. I don't know what it is. I think it's with the sound samples there's an issue. But Samurai Shodown 1, the character on the bottom right, and when you select a character, bottom corner, the one with the yellow and red costume, if you play the game with him, you'll notice that the sprite just appears randomly as it jumps up and down as you press a certain button. So there's a problem with that. And there's probably one or two problems with other games. Garrow Mark of the Wolves is a proto. You could go to internetarchive.org and download all of the ROMs for the Neo Geo, and you could replace all of the plus games on this car, all of the hacks and all that, and you could literally fit the entire Neo Geo library on one car, put some level translators on it, and people will be lining up to buy it. It really is that simple. You know, you'll have the full versions without any bugs and without any hacks and all that sort of stuff, and you know, the missing games, things like Metal Slug 5, Pocky and whatever it's called, I forget the name of the thing now, NAM, League Bowling, Baseball Stars, Top Players Golf, Riding Hero, you know, Magician Lord, and you could have perhaps, you know, Metal Slug 2 Turbo. That would be a nice inclusion on this. So like I say, you do that, change those ROMs, you know, full library on there, level translators, everyone's buying it. Yes, technically it's not legal, you know, because there's a thing, these are not, you know, they're using illegal dumps and things, but they're going to do it no matter what. So if they're going to do it no matter what, I'd rather they did a good job of it and gave us exactly what would make everyone happy and make them rich at the end of the day. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. I'm just going to have a gentle wipe over here, mostly for where I've put fingerprints on it, because you know what, it was spotless before I got my dirty mitts on it. And yeah, for good measurable stuff, a gentle wipe over those. Being careful not to wrench any service mount components off. That looks fine. So have I wiped my label off? I forget which one's top and which one's bottom now. Yeah, this one was the top, so this one's going to go at the bottom. Now, I just reviewed the footage here because I was like, the plastic edge thing at the bottom, where does the wide bit go? And that went to the bottom actually. It went facing downwards, so yeah, I'm comfortable with that. So yeah, this one's the bottom one, and it goes this way up because you've got to have the connector there. Got a bit of paper there. that way up, you know, because the cable is sandwiched between them, isn't it? So just gentle wipe there. Yeah, you wouldn't want to put any pressure here, obviously, because of the soldering, but just getting my fingerprints off more than anything. So yeah, that's the bottom, and as I say, wide bit at the bottom when you're disassembling it the way I have, with the label facing up. So it's going to go like that there. Anyway, before we do that, let's just put this there. Right, that's it. I've just grounded myself, and somehow now let's try and get them. Yeah, that looks good. Put our shell down there, and I'm going to carefully insert this into here. And this is the hard bit, because you've got to lift it over the little standoffs in the inside of the case. Lift it up a little bit, perhaps, like that. And then there should come a point where it will, if you just wobble around a little bit, you'll be able to get, if you just wobble around a bit, you'll be able to get that bottom board over the standoffs, yes, like that. At the same time, you've got to be looking here at this divider, because you want that to go into the little channel there, and on the right. Well, is that going down? Yeah, so then it's just the top board and the divider. Oh, let's come out here again, look, on the left. Yeah, it's a little bit fiddly. There we go. And then just have a look down there, just to make sure there's nothing crazy going on. I think there isn't. Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's something down there that's getting in the way. I don't think so. I think it is just these clips here. So I think we just need to just push them in like that. There we go. Do a side at a time, perhaps. And same on this side here. Get that one in. That one's in. And then gradually close it. And maybe just there. There we go. So yeah, some little adjustments here may be required. There we are, back together. And you can see there's barely a mark around that. So yeah, I've not done too bad a job. So let's go and get it back into the AES, fingerprints on it and everything, and see if it still works. So I do hope I've got everything right there. Went in nice and easily. Woohoo! It still works. Been testing for about 20 minutes here after reassembling it. No issues at all. Working perfectly. All the Metal Slug games on here are perfect. I think that's the main thing. I'm always really chuffed to forget something like this where all the Metal Slug games work on it. And I tore it back down again. This is ages later. Tore it back down again on the new bench. These 474 series here, HC273s. So yeah, they're doing something with the, I think they're just using that to control address lines or something. Actually, I don't think it's any buffering or anything like that. And this is an LS32. So yeah, it's not like they've corrected it with lots of level translation. It doesn't look that way to me at all. And after much messing, this diode, the anode of it goes down to pin 33 here. I can't quite see the numbers from here, which is one of these connections down here. I've just looked at the pin out from the Neo Geo wiki, and that's the reset signal. And it goes to via up here, I think, and then over to this CPLD somewhere on this side. So yeah, this is how it's detected you've pressed reset. But yeah, it's a bit of another one of those weird ones, isn't it? Because that diode, I guess they're doing a level drop, aren't they? You know, when it goes high, i.e., you know, 5 volts, or it probably won't be 5, it might be, I don't know, 4, a bit more than 4. It's going to drop it by a volt, you know, a 0.7 of a volt or something like that. That may even be a low forward switching one, you know, like 0.3 volts. So, yeah, it's level translation again. It's not ideal, is it? If it is 5 volts on the reset when it goes high, you're better off with 2 diodes here, really. But anyway, it's yeah, it's just another one of those fudges. So all working fine, but obviously you do run the risk that you could at some point kill one of the chips on your AES, just the same way you can do on the MVS when you've not got that level translation. But I'll be honest, it tends to seldom ever cause a problem, really. It may do for extended play sessions or if you're really unlucky. So I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to support the channel, please see the Ko-fi and Patreon links down below. There's a bit of extended footage here at the end of some of the gameplay captures, just so you can see and hear what it looks like. And I've covered a few different genres just to show you that it's not all about beat-em-ups on the Neo Geo. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.
Mission 1, start! すぐ楽にしてやる。
ここがあなたのデッドラインよ。
レディーゴー。どうした？
わけない。
Ninja Commando.
Round 1.
Super Sidekicks 2, the World Championship. Regional qualifying round final. England versus Turkey. Kickoff.
NASCAR.
Please select the type of your game. Who do you play as? Thomas Stewart. Please select your challenging course. Germany. Madden National Golf Course. Final day. Final party start. Good luck. number 1, 454 yards, par 4.
Player 1, tee shot.
Good shot.
Fairway. Player 1, second shot.
Fine.
On the green. Player 1, birdie try.
Birdie. I did it.
Certainly, they existed. Those blinded by ambition. Those consumed with vengeance. But here, they do not exist. Only winners and losers here. For here, the mighty rule. Garo, Mark of the Wolves.
こうなっちゃったのもおめえのせいだぞ。いったー。
Round 1. Fight!
こらほらほらこら
1, 2, 3, 4, hit!
Okay.